I hope you enjoyed this video from Peter to introduce our next speaker.
Your next speaker is a friend, and a Buckeye actually, a second-generation Ford dealer with 6 other franchises and approximately 600 employees at a dealership group outside Columbus. One other person wants to say hello and share what that task is.
Now, my cousin Peter tells me you're a big fan of this song that we wrote back in 2001. Rhett, you may be over 400 miles from where you're known, but I'm told it's your Midwest way of ease that makes people surround you. As you lead NADA and 16,000 plus dealers through its first virtual NADA show, here's to you and that road outside Columbus. Cheers, my friend.
Artist OAR, the iHeart guys know who it is. And something really special that Peter wanted to put together because we know you're a big fan of the band and a guitar player yourself. We were going to try to have a guitar here for you.
Huge surprise though. I mean, that band is very creative and innovative music. I mean, they've really hit it by storm, and plus the fact from Ohio gives us a little extra, but that was a surprise for me. Yeah, if I'd like to play with him actually someday. That'd be kind of fun just to jam around with him a little bit.
I bet that if you ask Peter, he can probably make that happen.
Yeah, all right, that's
so,
great.
Rhett, thank you so much for spending the time. I also really want to thank NADA for making sure that you got here and you got here safely. And NADA has always been just incredibly committed to the dealer population, and so I really appreciate you helping to make this happen today.
Well, thank you, Paul. I think that you did an incredible job, extremely safe here. Obviously, all of us have tried not to leave our homes or our cars. I always say the 2 safest places you can be is in your family room and your own automobile, right?
That's right.
But I don't know how it can be any safer than this. I felt like I was walking into a facility that's looked at every little thing that we could look at. So I'm happy to be here. I'm extremely happy to be able to talk to the dealer body out there right now because everyone's wondering, we've just recently had a resurge in the coronavirus through the country, and dealers are probably wondering again what's really going to go on. So
that's right.
Thought I'd share a few thoughts with you, and I really want some questions. I love having questions. I talked to the California auto dealers last week and the New York auto dealers, and I love having the feedback and the questions. I'll be as 100% transparent as I possibly can because I know that dealers rely on the NADA. We're the Air Force at 80,000 feet, keeping an eye on things and making sure dealers' franchises are protected and educational tools so they can improve their business every day.
Well, then on that note, from the 80,000 foot, I know that you've done a little work to make sure you can give us some good updates. So why don't you give us the updates on what things are looking like from your seat, the most current stuff, and then hopefully we can get into some questions and go from there.
Yeah, great. Just so all your listeners know, this is about as raw as it gets.
Oh, yeah.
If you're ever going to have a conversation with someone, most cases there's teleprompters and there's 2 or 3 sheets of paper and people are reading things off. So I've got my little cheat sheet right here, and hopefully you appreciate this at home because I'm going to just tell you with these bullet points exactly what's going on.
I appreciate that.
And I don't want to go through a history lesson, but we've had a hell of a year. It's been an unpredictable year. When I was when I got my speech that I gave in Las Vegas back in February, I talked about corruption, obstruction, and disruption. And if you think about it for a minute, the corruption was with Ghosn and the Volkswagen, which that's come and gone. Obstruction has to do with the stair-step programs, and now we got disruption. Holy shamoly, who could ever have thought of this? We've had a pandemic, factory shutdowns, dealerships have been closed, and I got to have my hats off to all the state ATAEs. Those are the automotive trade executives. Those are the people that run these state associations. People got to realize our franchise laws are state by state, and it's those states that make sure our franchise that protect the value of your franchise. and they just worked their tails off. I mean, during this whole pandemic, all the way back, and even to today, sweating midnight hours. And my hat goes off to every state association in the United States. You are a Herculean job during the pandemic and all the other issues that came along with it. My hat goes off to you. I mean, dealers have lost inventory. We've had a roller coaster used car market. It has been crazy as can be. We've had national protests, and now an unprecedented presidential election that goes beyond anybody's wildest imagination.
And it's still going.
Yeah. You know, the fact is, I was on the airplane coming in here, and I was thinking, well, heck, the world was watching Philadelphia here just during that election, and it held the fate to the presidential race. So there's a lot of questions swirling around there, but I'm only going to answer a few that I know that I can answer. And everywhere I go, they always say, you know, Ricart, you know, am I going to be okay? Electrification, mobility, autonomy, all these other things. And my answer is absolutely, positively yes. There's not an issue. Dealers, you've heard the term resilient, but you know, for over 100 years, we've been distributing automobiles safely to our customers across the United States, and they appreciate it. I was just backstage talking to another gentleman, and I explained, think about it. When other manufacturers went out, you know, Saturn, Pontiac, Oldsmobile, the rest, it was our franchise laws that ensured the values of those cars stayed stable, they had parts, and we had a dealer body to service them. I ask another question, I don't know if many people know it, is that since 1900, and you can Google check me, how many new car manufacturers have there been in the United States? You know, we've had Hudson, Studebaker, but take a wild guess, Paul, how many do you think there's been?
Gosh.
1,300 plus.
My guess was gonna be under 100.
1,300 plus, and we got about 31 today. So all these disruptors come, and they're gonna be part of the program, but they're not gonna seal the fate by any means. You know, we got customers that are back in the showroom. Biggest thing we're trying to make sure is our customers are safe and our employees are safe.
Yep.
You know, that's important. You know, we can adapt, dealers can fold. You know, you got to have some confidence. I mean, you got to walk with your chest out if you're a dealer right now, because you kept America rolling. Think about that. 71% of the tonnage of cargo across the United States is shipped by trucks. So next time you go to your refrigerator, tell your friends, your neighbors, and everyone this. When you open that refrigerator, take 7 out of 10 items out of that refrigerator. Those 3 items you got left, you're now living in a third world country.
Wow.
You know, that's how powerful our transportation system is. And that's the reason the CDC, early on when we were in Washington, realized we got to have essential sales and critical sales. So as we go through these humps and bruises with this COVID, you got to remember, dealers are still, our doors are open and we're still doing business. We showed more than they're essential, and that was your state association as well as the NADA just beating on doors relentlessly. We were relentless on that. We have to interpret during this whole COVID thing, there's dozens of regulations, federal regulations we had to deal with, as well as state regulations. And there are states and cities, governors, not only governors, but mayors that have this newfound power having to do with COVID. Yeah. I mean, they were shutting restaurants down, businesses down.
Absolutely.
Not by the governor, but maybe by the health director in a county or a city, or a mayor decides to do it. Unprecedented we've had to come through, but you know something? We tackled every issue, big and small, it made no difference. Health and safety of our customers and our employees are the most important. And then we had to get into relief loans, PPP loans, the CARES Act. Holy shimoly, let's throw that on top of the thing.
This feels like another universe.
No, it's like, so we had to shift gears, get everybody back in business, and then make sure they had liquidity to stay in business. You know, there was over, there were billions of dollars distributed on this PPP, and dealers, you know, to operate a highly capitalistic business like we take a lot of capital to run these things. We take a lot of money to be able to run our inventories and our working capital, et cetera, et cetera. So that, we were talk about banging on doors, we were screaming and shouting and yelling. And we have a relationship with everyone on Capitol Hill for the fact that they know for 100 years, the NADA always tells the truth. We don't spin facts, we don't have to. They know that we vet the facts, and when we need legislation from both sides of the aisle, we're there to give them the truth and the facts to help them make intelligent decisions. And you know something? It works.
Unbelievable.
Look at that today.
How novel. How novel. You seem like the kind of person that'll tell someone the truth.
Well, there's only one thing left. When it comes, you can only lose your integrity one time, and there's so much integrity within the NADA, and that's the reason it's such a powerful organization. Through the virtue of our integrity on Capitol Hill to the grassroots of our dealers in every city that have relationships in their community, that have relationships with their local legislators, and also within the state, as I mentioned, our ATAEs, their ability to go up on the Hill and be able to talk with integrity, and they're listened to, and look at the success we've had this year with the dealers. Even when we've had our supply choked off of automobiles, we've had banks our banks have been a great partner, by the way.
No
Our banking community, both the captives and independent, have been tremendously good partners for the dealers across the country. We know it. And we're delivering record high customer satisfaction right now from us, record high. And it's going to get higher because dealers are going more digital, dealers are doing pickup and delivery, and all these other things you mentioned early. It's exciting to me. You can probably feel it in my voice. I can see us, we're crossing not a chasm, we're accelerating now on the automobile dealerships across the country on delivering world-class, no matter what brand of car you buy, a world-class experience for customers.
This whole thing, in my opinion, this whole thing skipped 5 years for us. And people that were slow to adopt, slow to understand that people actually wanted these things. And the fact that the resiliency and the speed of adoption, I think it surprised me how fast all of a sudden everyone caught up to a certain point, because the dealers that were doing some of these things were far ahead. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm grateful that they were, because we knew what to do. The other side of it is now everyone else is much closer to them.
Well, 70% of the vendor spaces at the NADA show, and I'll talk about that a little later, are digital.
70?
So 70. So those tools have always been out there, but now the dealers are saying, okay, I got to quit goofing around. I got to get on the program.
Yeah.
I got to get my people. I got to get some people in an organization. They're going to really adopt it. And, that brought out online purchasing, online at-home delivery, and all these other things. They're here to stay. Don't think they're going to be here. This isn't a fad, folks. This thing's going on because it's what our customers want. That's what they want.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes when people when they know they're safe from COVID and they go into your dealership and they see people wearing masks and you got all the plexiglass and all those other things. We're a comfortable place for people to go.
That's right.
And they can go shop for their car and look at it. But we still got some challenges ahead of us, and we're going to have to really face those. The challenges are this up and down COVID. The challenges are, we saw what happened to the Corvette factory this week. It got shut down not because of what General Motors is doing in the plant. It's the supplier supplying these parts. And logistically speaking, with just in time, these manufacturers have been getting caught up, so they'll be able to build volume now. And what's happened? We have a reoccurrence of these COVID on 2 or 3 or 4 or half a dozen of these parts suppliers. It's going to slow up some of this production. So you can't really put a big smile on your face and think your inventory is full right now, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, everything's fixed. These are unprecedented, unpredictable times. Mm-hmm. And it only takes, as I said, 1 or 2 of these parts manufacturers where there's not a depot to have those extra parts, you're going to have issues. I got to tell you, if you've ever been in an automobile manufacturing plant, you've never seen anything like it in your life. They are geniuses at logistics, right? But even this has proven some challenges with them, and they're trying to figure this thing out to keep those production lines rolling, because dealers across the country, as you know, Paul, most of them are. Used car prices have spiked so high.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, especially the Corvette, like a very hot vehicle right now. They can sell them faster than they can make them. But the whole manufacturing process that supplies us is built upon a set of constraints that had been pretty stabilized. And now the new constraints being put on them, they could be as smart as they want, but if you can't get that here and you don't have 1,000 of them sitting somewhere, you can't depart. Like, it's game over. Like, that car can't go.
That's a beauty. This change is happening, and we do the dealer attitude survey summer and winter at the NADA. We send it out. We have a huge percentage of the dealers to send back. We get tens of thousands of responses. And we go with the manufacturers, the OEMs, and we sit down with them, explain to them, say, listen, this is what's really going on with your customer. If the person's shaking the hand, or maybe giving the bump with a customer now, You know, they're the ones that really tell you what's really going on. And the issues are this. One, customers aren't impressed by huge showrooms of chandeliers and most of your showrooms. They have said this time and time again. The NADA just finished a study in which I'm going to announce at the Automotive Press, I think it's in 2 weeks in Detroit, is that the fact that, you know, in the 60 percentiles, these people don't really care. You know, they don't care how big that showroom is. And by the way, when it's home delivery, they don't even know if the showroom even exists, right? Second thing is that the auto shows. A lot of the auto shows across the country, people are saying manufacturers have thought they don't have to do auto shows. People need these auto shows, because think about it for a minute. Customers in the future aren't going to shop 4, 5, 6, 7 different places to go look at a car.
Right.
They're going to go online, get a pretty good idea, and then they're just going to go to an auto show in one stop, and they're going to go see all these things, right?
That's right.
So, I mean, all these things are coming to fruition, the way that we market, how we come to market with the OEMs, and the facilities and these dumb stair-step programs. I mean, I don't know how many times you got to get hit over the head with a hammer until you figure out it's burning our customer base. We lose all of our integrity with a customer when we got to sit there and play with these multifaceted, complicated stair-step programs. And look at the manufacturers recently. They've done pretty well, you know, as far as selling their volume and getting their plans.
Oh, no, everybody's
customer
happy.
high. Why do you think we have this high customer satisfaction? Because we don't have these ludicrous, crazy, dumb stair-step programs. They do listen. We sit with them, and they've come and they've gone. They come and they've gone. It always seems to creep its way back in, though. But we got to get rid of those things. We got to deal straight up with customers. We got to use the digital platforms. Dealers we got our business models managed right now. You know, we got our inventory flowing correctly. We got our customers happy on the showroom
It's a great
floor.
time for a reset.
Yeah. So why throw a monkey in the wrench because somebody wants to build their market share by 0.2% or something? I mean, Well,
because it's tough. It's tough to watch dealers making so much money and not think, how can I siphon some of that back?
Well, so much money. Automobile dealers make historically 2 to 3% of sales. They're in an industry, 2 to 3% of sales. Are you kidding me? I was sitting somewhere there with a bank that was making a local community bank that's making 17%. I'm wondering, I'm in the wrong business.
What's that like? Yeah.
I'm working 2 to 3, they're making 17%. So it's like, we're not this industry, this overbearing industry. Yes, we deal with larger numbers, I agree with that, but the risk we take, and think about the genius you mentioned at dealers. The dealers the more time I've spent at the NAD, I've been there 6 years, and the dealers I've seen across the country and talked with, we are super geniuses. We're not the secret sauce, we're the magic sauce. Think about all this has gone on in the last 9 months, and this whole world keeps moving. And by the way, we control a product that's sent to us, and we have to sometimes, with the recalls, we got to fix it before it hits the ground.
Right.
Then we have to find a transaction the customer's comfortable with and financing they're comfortable with. And after the financing, deliver it with them, explain all the technology. And after they take delivery of it, explain all their questions, help them out with all the tags and registration, whatever they might have along with it. And as they own that vehicle, maintain that vehicle for them. And if there's other additional recalls, there were still 39 million recalls last year. Don't get confused. Just because Takata went away at 59 million, don't know that they're out there. Then after we perform all the recalls and everything else, when the customer brings it back in, we're able to provide a trade-in space for them, to be able to have all the records for them, to be able to have them a new product that they have, or maybe a great lease program they have. And we do that all out of one place,
right,
under the leadership of one dealer that does that. There isn't any other industry that does that. Restaurants, you make the food, you make everybody happy, and they leave, and they might come back. Our customers, they're our customer for as long as they own that car. Yeah. Average ownership's 11.8 years now. It's like,
and not only that, you have legal obligations. There's a whole slew of things. Without a doubt, it's one of the most complex industries, but it doesn't seem that way from the outside. But anyone who does it knows. I want to make sure we get to the rest of your list.
No, I got to tell you, dealers are super geniuses. If you take other industries and what they do, how many people have been in the car business and they get into another business, they do very, very well.
Right.
They do very, very well.
They're like, oh, well, compared to the car business, right?
Hey, I think I want to own a car dealership, and they buy it, and they end up tanking it. You know, I mean, I'm telling you, it's a lot harder than you think, because it takes someone with 360-degree vision to be able to operate a business that not only has to deal with products, but also the service and customers and employees. And I didn't even mention your parts departments. We're also in the parts business and the business and the KPI business on managing parts, et cetera, et cetera. So I've been enamored, and the success we've had so far, and as I said, it's not a victory, it's just a success so far, We don't know what's going to happen in the future. We're well positioned, and dealers are a lot smarter, and they're a leaner, meaner fighting machine. And but we'll continue on with, I believe, continued success. I think the dealer body out there really gets it right now.
Well, let me do this because our time's winding down. I know we have dealers and some dealers in the room right now. Does anybody have a question that you'd like to ask Rhett while you have him here? Don't be shy.
Hey, I got a quick one for the question. The NADA, we got a virtual show. I know this is
let's talk about that.
This is a hybrid we're doing here. That virtual show, we had to take a lot of time to think about it. Lord knows, many of the businesses that show at the NADA convention, that is their 13th month. They launch new products there.
Yeah.
That's how they do it. It's always extremely well attended by everyone. So we are going virtual February 9th to 11th. Got a lot of surprises. Don't want to miss it, trust me. The NADA, we don't know how to do anything halfway. It's going to be over the top. It's going to be well worth your time. There'll be a lot of workshops and a lot of digital workshops, especially for you out there that are really searching for it. Got some really special guest speakers. The make meetings are going to be there. The manufacturers are excited about the make meetings. They want to do their make meetings live. They want to do a live make meeting there, which is really, really, really interesting.
I feel like
because
that's
they
a
want to
great
make sure the
opportunity
dealer body gets to see it. I mean, our manufacturers are standing up. Our OEMs know how important the distribution model is, and they're thinking, the more that we treat our dealers with respect, and the more that we are transparent, it's amazing the kind of success we can have in turbulent times, let alone the good times.
Without a doubt. I mean, look, when NADA got canceled, I think everybody's heart dropped a little bit. So I think everyone's excited to, all right, let's at least keep the momentum going. Let's lean in and make the most of it that we can and make a great event virtually. So I'm excited to be there, and I know a lot of people that I talk to are as well. I do have one final question for you. Maybe a little more personal question, but what's it going to be like going back to civilian life?
Oh, well, I have a lot of other interests, as you can probably tell. I like to, obviously, I like to play guitar and things.
No, but you've literally been thrown into one of the most tumultuous eras in the automotive industry.
I got to tell you,
you don't seem tired.
It was a blessing. I think that I know my skill set's communication.
Yep.
This is the time when we needed communication. With the PR firm, the PR arm of the NADA created the NADA Coronavirus Hub, in which we still is intact today for dealers that need to know what's going on, the coronavirus, PPP provisions, et cetera, all those different things. That was exciting to do. It's exciting to get a new leadership for the NADA.
Yeah,
Peter
what are
Welch.
you going to do? I want to know.
And it was so exciting. I am staying on for another 3 years as a state director for the OEDA, for the Ohio Auto Dealers, NADA. After that, I don't know. But I really feel as though the leadership of Paul Walser coming in and Michael Alford and Michael Stanton is our new CEO. I liked all these initiatives. We started our diversity inclusive initiative. We started that over a year ago, and then we reinforced it here recently by adding 2 new board members on executive board, both diverse and inclusive. So I mean, we've done a lot of great things. I just can't wait. It's like watching your kids go through high school, right?
Yeah.
You can't wait to go to their ball game. You see them play grade school ball, middle school ball, another high school ball, maybe college ball, but it's kind of fun to be hanging around in the back seat now. I'll be in the back seat watching how the rest of our directors and offering advice that I can give that other chairmen I've had, Wes Lutz, Forrest, and the rest of them, Charlie, giving me advice on how to be the best chairman I can possibly be. And it's good to have that kind of intellect and experience behind you.
Well, I think I speak for everyone in the industry and just thanking you for digging in this last year. We really needed you up front. And like you said, I think it was a blessing that we had you.
I told you this before, Paul, and it's not hyperbole. I mean, you're communicating with the dealer body out here is very, very critical. They need to know, they need to have, they're looking down the street, they're reading newspapers, reading magazine articles, you're watching, no, this is a real deal. Listen and understand you're in the greatest industry. Next time you drive home, look at how many businesses have boards in front of them, and you're sitting down the street operating your business with all your customers, with the mask on. They got a smile under that mask, I promise you. They're happy to come in there and get themselves a new truck or car and take their family on vacation and have that freedom that automobiles provide.
Well, Rhett, thank you so much for sharing your time, making the trip to come down here.
Anytime. Great time.
Amazing. Thanks, Rhett.
Right there.